Good morning and welcome back to the Easter Ross Peninsula. I've got up bright and early this morning and come down to a little village called Ballantor, which is home to a mermaid. Yes, you've heard me right, it's home to a mermaid, and I'm hoping to photograph her as the sun rises behind her. Let's go. This mermaid sculpture is just beautiful, and I love how it sits on this massive boulder that just towers over this landscape. Now unfortunately this morning isn't probably the best, what you would call, conditions for photographing her. When I went to bed last night it said it was going to be complete clear skies this morning, and unfortunately it's clear above me, but on all the horizons it's just shrouded in clouds and mist in the distance, which isn't ideal. I was really worried when I got here that we weren't going to get any good light, but as you will have seen a minute ago we did get some really nice pink bands in the clouds. It only lasted 10 minutes and they're already gone. But what I'm kind of hoping is that potentially once the sun rises above that clouds we might get some nice orange glows. But the other frustrating thing this morning is that the tide is out, as you can see here, and it's actually low tide, isn't it? Like lowest tide is in half an hour, which is a bit frustrating because I would have really loved to have got a photograph of this mermaid with it high tide, with all the water and everything around her. But high tide today isn't until about midday, which obviously isn't the ideal conditions for doing outdoor landscape photography. We're probably going to have very harsh sunshine. But I am considering coming back later on today at high tide to see if I can capture something a little bit different and see even during the daytime if I can get something of interest, particularly if I'm going to do a long exposure style shot. But what I've been doing this morning is I've just been basically looking around this area at the rock formations and trying really hard to try and find some rocks that help lead you into the mermaid and tell a story. Because as you can probably see, these rocks here, there's a lot going on them. There's a lot of varying shapes, textures, patterns, colours, a lot of seaweed, which in some respects can make photographs look quite messy. But I did find this really nice portrait orientation shot where I had three nice boulders in the foreground of my image with this nice pool of water leading into the mermaid itself. I just thought it made a really nice composition. And that coupled with her silhouetted on the horizon and the beautiful colours behind me, it was a decent image. Like I said, I would have much rather that it was high tide this morning, but you've just got to make the most of what you've got. And as always, it's just so nice to get out early in the morning. I never regret getting up early, and to be the only person out here enjoying this beautiful sunrise. It's just fantastic.
Those images ended up turning out better than I'd expected. The colours in the sky were beautiful. The mermaid is part of the Seaboard Sculpture Trail, so following my shoot, I had a look at the other sculptures. These include some giant salmon to symbolise the village's fishing heritage, a compass to symbolise the globe of travels made by the locals, and a memorial to John Ross, who was brought up here and became well known in China and Korea for his religious teachings. I I then headed a few miles up the road to one of the area's many standing stones to enjoy the golden hour. This one is a replica, but it's well worth seeing.
What a beautiful spot this is. It's now midday and high tide, so I thought I'd come back at high tide. As I was saying earlier, I said I might do this to see if I'd got any other photographic opportunities, and from a photographic point of view I think I'm preferring high tide, but unfortunately, as you can imagine, that being midday the sun is glaring down on the scene and it's just not making for the very best light for landscape images. So what I've been doing is I've been putting my long exposure, my 10-stop filter on my camera along with my polarizer to try and remove some of the glare from the water, and also to try and get a long exposure image, which I thought might make the scene a little bit more interesting. If you watched my last video, you will have heard me speaking about a folklore about some fairies building a bridge. And out at sea today, although we're at the opposite side of the peninsula, the way that the sun is hitting the sea, we're getting this stunning twinkling of light, and it's just reminded me of those fairies. So today I'm sitting here beside this beautiful mermaid, immersing myself in the view with these lovely twinkling lights on the sea, and potentially some fairies out working at sea.
What a beautiful place this is. Following sitting watching the sea twinkle, I headed for a walk along the award-winning Shandwick Bay, where more twinkling could be enjoyed. I then headed to another standing stone that overlooks the bay to immerse myself further in more of this area's history.
Well, it's now the evening here, and what a lovely day I've had again today. Just like yesterday, the weather has been stunning, and I've been out all day just exploring this beautiful peninsula. And of course, as many of you will know, one of my favourite lighthouses is on the Easter Ross Peninsula, and you can see it behind me there. This is Tarbert Ness. I'm not going to show you much of Tarbert Ness today because I've made many videos from here in the past. If you want to check them out, you can do so. But I couldn't not end my trip here without coming to my favourite lighthouse and just enjoying my final night here, immersed in the nature here and watching the sunset. So that's exactly what I'm doing. This is such a beautiful spot, and to end my trip in one of my favourite locations in Scotland, I mean, what could be more special than that? As I say, it's been such a relaxing weekend, and I'll be sad to leave this place tomorrow morning. What is going on behind me just now is just incredible. Now, I knew tonight that we weren't going to get a good sunset because it's very hazy and overcast, a little bit like last night. But what we do have behind me right now, this massive golden ball of sun. It's not really golden, it's a massive light, white light of sun coming through the top of the clouds. What we have around it is this amazing circular structure. I've seen this so many times with the moon. You know, when the moon is out on a misty, hazy night, you often get that ball of light around the moon as it's getting high in the sky. Well, tonight we've got this ball of light. It's like a big rainbow of white light around the sunset itself. And it is just beautiful. I don't think I've ever seen this before. I'm just loving it. It's like this really powerful, natural spectacle. It's such a lovely way, like I say, to end my final night here, just sitting here on this beautiful peninsula by the sea with my favourite lighthouse behind me, or one of my favourite lighthouses should I say, and this incredible ball of light around the sun. So beautiful, absolutely stunning. I just love it when you're out in nature and you get these spectacles, and photographing lights in unusual ways like this is just such a fun thing to do. I can't get over it. It reminds me of like a really spiritual or religious symbol, and it just feels so powerful, this massive archway of light in the sky. Wow. As I photographed this lighthouse many times before, and the sunset's not that great tonight, as I say, it's quite hazy and just not very interesting and colourful, I've decided to do something I've not done for ages, and that is long exposure photography. So I've got my polarising filter on so that I can get a little bit of the glare off of the pools. I've also got my 10-stop ND filter on my camera as well, and I've got a trigger remote currently going just now. And with those in situ, I'm getting an exposure of about 3.5 minutes, which is allowing me to smooth out some more of the clouds and also get the sea nice and smooth as well. Long exposure photography is something I haven't done very much of for a number of years now, but in conditions like this, you know, nights where the sky isn't very exciting and there's not much going on, it can really add interest to photographs. So that's what I'm doing tonight, and it's something that I've not really done here before. So it's just nice to try something different and see what you can create, especially when you're coming back to a location that you've been to several times. It can give you that fresh sense of accomplishments and let you go home with some images that are a little bit different to what you've taken previously.